on the course that you're going to pursue. Yeah, many of us have, I don't think it's a mistake, but of course, given the fact that Uganda's education system does not provide that option, but of course in the US actually, it is important to understand and calculate the return on investment of a degree. And of course, it has very many factors that you have to put in place, the income potential, then you have to look at the unemployment rates. Yes, you have to be aware of the unemployment rates of the course that you're going to pursue. Are you going to be among those that are unemployed? I mean, we've had cases of some of the courses that are not verified. So that could also be an issue for us. Well, of course, also looking at the cost of attendance, although in the US, they do more research. Well, according to the World Bank, in 2018, the World Bank actually study found out that 1 year increase in schooling in Uganda leads to 6.5% increase for lifetime earnings for men, and of course 11.7% for women. And of course, women are actually one of the people that they give priority these days. And of course, you find job specific, we want women. And of course, it's of a higher benefit if you actually have improved, pursued other levels of education away from the bachelor's. You have gone on to get a master's and a PhD. Trust me, the increase is at 11.7 compared to men, because the men are known to be vigorous. And of course, for women, it's just starting. Yeah, women are starting to embrace education and going for higher studies. Those days, in the 1980s, it was for a few. It was a few those that got opportunity, because those days, there was no girl child education, really. It was about, we study a few classes and, get into early marriage, which we call these days early marriage, which I don't think is the case. Away from that, and of course, some people argue that the more with the high level of education, this will typically earn you more than someone who has been or has attained a lesser level of education. Take an instance. We can give an instance of you've been called for a job interview, and trust me, you have a bachelor's, and there is someone coming in with a master's, a postgraduate. Don't you think they're going to be more advantageous when it comes to that employment? And of course, looking at the income potential. It is in Uganda where you find probably, if you have gone for a master's and a PhD, and of course someone is doing bachelor's, the variation in income are going to differ. Okay, they're going to differ. If at all, you had a master's and they're paying 1 million, it's going to be a different income altogether for a person who is studying a doctorate. Well, of course, it is important that we have some factors in place once we are looking out for courses. You have to understand the course that you're heading to. Does it really bring returns on investment? You've invested 30 million in education, over 100 million in education, but if you go out into the world and you start working, does it really pay off? Yeah, you have studied for 3 years, 4 years, but at the end of the day, you're not earning as you should. One of the professions I feel in Uganda, considered to have a higher pay, and maybe doctors. Yeah, doctors. Those are also probably in the, in the public hospitals and all that. Yeah, those that are registered. Doctors. Well, the rest is purely private. So that also causes, that is also a point of concern. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we've had very many organizations coming up, very many private companies coming up, very many schools coming up, private schools coming up. So there is also that aspect of it. So calculating is also important, the return on investment on your education, on your learning. Well, according to TechnoSouth, a study on vocational training in Uganda found out that 57% increase in monthly income for graduates would be after 1 year. Yeah. So you can understand, because the fact that you come into the working space, you're fresh out of campus, you do not have experience. I mean, some people have found themselves in a space where you volunteer for more than 1 year. You're 2 years in, you're volunteering. Why? You do not have the required skills for that very profession. Well, of course, that goes back to the education system that we had in place, or the days before the new curriculum was set. We used to do more theory, than practicals. Now, I think there is a blend of both physical and practicals. And of course, the fact that we are shifting in a digital era, in a technological advanced era, I feel there is a lot that we can do and, of course, learn out of this new curriculum, because we are hoping to skill more learners, to do something on their own way. Education does not make you, it doesn't make you a genius. What makes you a genius is what you can practically do. That is what makes you stand out among others. Well, of course, you have to consider, like I said, you have to consider the unemployment rates. Yeah, if you've invested into a course in learning, have you researched to know how many people are unemployed? The ones that have pursued your very course that you're pursuing, or it's a matter of luck. Yeah, but I just feel it's quite absurd that you started a certain course and it has been phased out and people are no longer, even actually, this no longer on the list of vacancies. Yeah, so people have, turned out to do other jobs because there's no job market for the things they studied for, the courses they studied for. Well, of course, also the cost of attendance. How much do you invest in this school? For those that have gone to private institutions, it's more costly. Find someone spending over 40 million studying a course. And at the end of the day, you go and you start working and you're paid just a handful of money. Does that really pay off? So for you to really have returns on investment, you have to work for more than 20 years to pay up that money, the 40 million that you invested in education. Well, and of course, the income potential, like I said, you have to know how much these people are. Yeah. It's not a matter of studying to pass or excel. We are studying to get more knowledge from the things we already know. That is why we're studying for. And of course, that is why some people have turned and have shifted now, they've gone into business school. They feel, they can be job creators instead of job seekers, like they told us. So definitely, when you come to Uganda, I don't think it's really paying off. Education system is not really paying off because we invest a lot and we earn a lot at the end of the day. Well, Andrew Barija is here with me, and just to remind you, Andrew, if at all you were given chance to go back to school, given this knowledge that we have, what course would you think you would pursue that that you can compensate for having spent a full sum of money during education?
Of course, that's a very interesting one there. But I would say one thing that if you consider the aspect that dynamics are changing currently in the world, because what the traditional job market way back in time demanded is a little bit different. Yes, exactly. And away from even I'm going to get there. What course would I do if I had the chance? If you take a look at the education system globally or even locally, it should have the element of being tailored to the needs of the job market. Now, that's the big question. It doesn't matter what course actually you've done, but the issue is, are the factors are the features of that course you did tailored, the way it is structured, the way it is it really required of the job market? Of course, I would do something related to renewable energy because climate change is the talk of the day. So that means any climate expert and the people in science related to climate innovations in relation to climate change would definitely be the way to go. But I feel like that has been a part of the missing hub. It's not about what course somebody is actually doing. But we take a look at where the world is right now currently, where are the billions of money being spent. So it's good for the young generation to actually make career choices. Because if you take a look at China now, owning about 80% of that is the solar system, 50% of thermal energy, wind energy. So that means there is a lot of heavy investment in those sectors in the country of China. And if it comes to also the education-wise, those are the areas of priority, training their children to be the people that are dominating this space. So it should be the same. It's not about, as we're saying that, okay, because I've come to realize that the Ministry of Education sometimes seems to be a little bit independent from other ministries. Yeah. For example, I would anticipate if there is a new structure for the Ministry of ICT. I'm just giving an example. The education system should be incorporated. It should be if it's the Ministry of Tourism, the education ministry should be incorporated, such that they can, because these are the ministries that know where the actual market is, where the actual if they are looking at planning for the country, Vision 2040, how are we going to achieve this? It all comes with having the skilled manpower that can be able to actually execute the required mandate. Because if we are talking about economic development, it's not about something, it doesn't call for mediocrity. It calls for heavy, active people. Otherwise, you honestly, it's not something just to discuss about. So I feel like education is just beyond going to the traditional schools we've known, but it's about passing on a skill that is relevant for the economy of the country. That's why we are looking at return on investment. What are you studying? Does it is it in time or is it rhyming with what the country aspires? What is the vision of Uganda right now? If it's if it's to ensure that we draw a data-driven economy, things to do with cybersecurity, let it not just be a talk from the Ministry of ICT or any other agency or NITA Uganda. Let us see these skills being passed on to the young children such that there is impact. And I think that is what education is really about. But if we are still studying the older traditional stuff of the times, okay, they were relevant in those times, but the times have changed as we speak right now. So I think that would make the education system relevant.
Yeah, I feel like probably the education ministry has a long way to go. Because now it's like you said, we are shifting from the theory. That's why you find in cases of Uganda, they're employing people that foreigners, because we do not have the required skills as Ugandans. So I do not know why the education system is not providing an opportunity for Ugandans to actually skill up themselves. Well, of course, it's 15 minutes past 7 a.m. and of course, right about now, we are always in for what is happening into the press. A lot has been happening over the weekend. And of course, we're going to be giving you a few of what inspired over there. Well, of course, matters regarding primary leaving examinations and someone questioning where are the 122,000 who didn't sit for PLE exam. Probably they could be home seated. Yeah, of course, at least 122,000 candidates who registered for primary leaving examinations over the past 8 years did not turn up for papers. And it is reported that only 800,000 make it to P7 from 1.8 million in P1. So you can imagine. Well, I think one of the reasons is you realize the education system is changing. Now, of course, the UPE school that we used to know, one of the best performing schools, are no longer so now. Parents tend to prefer private schools. I think, and of course, private is quite expensive. At the end of the day, someone who started P1 in a certain school, they will go changing because the school fees is increasing, and over time they will be burdened and they won't be able to make it. So they are home seated. Some of them COVID-19, they got early marriages and pregnancy at youngest teenage pregnancy. So that could be some of the reasons as to why there has been a low turnout. students. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Now, here, we take a look at the best PLE teachers here in New Vision, at least just right here. Now, as we proceed, Makere celebrates Best Performing Students Awards, that is honorary degrees, and DIT equips over 300 refugees with vocational skills. This is what I call actual education in terms of that. And then government distances itself from 17-day ICJ ruling on Gaza. You know, the only judge that ruled in favor of Israel. And it caused quite lots of people trying to find out who really is she rather. Okay, now still further more I see PLE dominating right here, 2023. I mean, these are the teachers, you know, from the different institutes that taught
Well,
the
of
children
course,
well.
not before the dead even buried or thought of. 7 in Wales Dokolo sit. Uganda doesn't cease to amaze me. Well, of course, still here, gold farms bid stop paying taxes squashed. And of course, more of government pledging to develop Katosa matters shrine. There's also another shrine. Definitely, there's also developments. And of course, Makere graduation to kick off this very week. Yeah.
All right, now seeing here the day biopharma drugs, vaccines, plants ready for production. This is a plant actually, production plant, right? They are ready for production. And there is here, they're actually telling you why Makere PhD graduate numbers have soared for the past given years. And Angola urges G77 plus China members to be innovative. Of course, innovation is the order of the day, figuring out new ways to do things. And of course, thousands welcome the MK team in Mitoma, seeing here quite people who visited Mitoma after the first attempt clearly aborted. And still further as we proceed into these are the adverts as we can see. And now somebody here from the Uganda Wildlife Education Center says why botanical gardens were handed over to it. In other words, why were the botanical gardens handed over to UWEC, the Uganda Wildlife Education Center?
Well, of course, in the East African, Uhuru on Fori in Uganda as Ruto, Museveni gravitates apart. Of course, the former president caused a buzz after he rode in Uganda Airlines flight with Vice President Alupo to Kinshasa and was later hosted by the veteran leader at the State House. And of course, US pushes Kenya to back a Houthi offensive. And of course, more for those that are interested in true religion, TB Joshua, and why Africans are fond of Pentecostalism, and of course, renewable energy grace in the East African community.
Now, 4 police officers charged with robbery. It's not the first time officers in Uganda charged with, embedded in fraud. And now, for somebody here in the comment section mentioned something about Uganda is already harvesting from the NAM of the G77 plus China summit. Of course, if you want to find out how are we benefiting, definitely grab yourself a copy of the New Vision. You will be able to get a clear picture. And now that brings us to the end of the press brief. We get straight to the traffic update. It's a Monday, 29th of January, and the images that you're observing in there are coming in from the Ginger Road access, opposite Access Road, and later there we see Port Bell Road. And it's a Monday morning, and actually, as far as I'm concerned, some schools have actually resumed today, a few of them, and but the situation looks of course congested, most especially up there at the roundabout. That's the Airtel roundabout, which links up Ginger Road and Port Bell Road, and most of the vehicles that are coming in from areas like Nakawa and all areas along Ginger Road, talking about Bwegere, Chireka Banda, and so many more of those areas. Now also taking a look at the access road there, I can clearly see just a few vehicles coming in from Chibuli, most especially some are coming in from Kabalagala, Kansanga, and many other areas along Gaba Road. It is still in the beat, smoothly, lightly congested, most especially those that are coming from Access Road and you're probably heading towards Yusuf Lule Road, or you're heading to other given destinations, or probably you're living there and you're heading towards Ginger Road to areas like Nakawa. Well, you'll have to be a little bit patient for just about 3 to 5 minutes, or even extremely talking about 6 minutes, that you will have to be patient, because I can see the traffic officer is entirely in control. Yes, it's been a while since, of course, after the NAM, when they were too active. The last week was a little bit relaxed. They weren't so active, but I think now they have had enough rest. Now they are back to active duty. I'm not saying they haven't been operating, but the time of operation is what I'm talking about here. And I can see vehicles coming in from Kampala Road heading straight to Ginger Road, still just released by the traffic lights. Actually, majority of those are controlled by the traffic lights, except those from other roads. But that's the situation that we are seeing there at Access, opposite Access Road, and that is the Ginger Road junction, Ginger Road traffic lights. Yes, some applies to some of you, those that are coming in from Ginger Road heading to Kampala Road. It's just a balance of intervals to make sure that both sides benefit somehow to control the congestion. And now those ones on the access road are still held back, and now those are coming in from Ginger Road and heading towards Kampala Road, just being given a time. And there are many, 3 of them already, I'm already seeing here. So you need to be careful as you're driving, most especially the motorcyclists. Normally in such hours, rushing some people, to the people that are carrying to the different destinations, it can cause a little bit of an accident. Now, straight back to Yusuf Lule Road, you can see a huge fleet for the people now coming in. If you're linking up from Fairway to Mulago roundabout, that entire road, that is this Lule Road, probably you branching up to Nile Avenue or towards Garden City. So if you're coming in from Wandagare and you have plans to use to pass via the Mulago route, link up to Fairway, then come up to here, well, it's would be okay if you're coming into town, but you might be you might need to be patient alone, most especially if you're coming in if you're heading towards, if you're in Wandagare and you're planning to head towards Chibuli, towards any of the areas along Gaba Road. Well, you'll have to be you could think of using the Wandagare road and straight away link up to the city center, or else you might be affected by a series of traffic lights, because the Yusuf Lule Road alone itself is inflated with a series of stopovers. All right, now finally we switch to see vehicles coming in from Kampala Road heading to Ginger Road. It's just they've been held there for quite just not so long, 4-5 minutes. So if you're coming in from the city center, you're heading to Nakawa area, or you're heading towards Port Bell Road, I can guarantee you that you'll have to be patient, except those that are coming in from areas along Ginger Road, areas along Port Bell Road, and you're coming to town. Well, it's a bit congested. You'll have to be really very patient. And that brings us to the end of the traffic update this morning. It's exactly 25 minutes past 7. Let's take a break, and when we return, Caribbean Africa and international updates into the pipeline. Stick around.